Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm having internet issues. It might go out. I don't know. Twitch, if it goes out, it should just come back. YouTube will not. We'll see. YouTube might go down. I don't know. Our whole town, I guess, has internet outages, so we'll talk about it in a minute. I'm just testing it. I started late. I might not be on here long if the internet's fucked up, but
what you think about when you're born into a fire. Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest.
Am I further in my game? A little bit. Not really. Like I'm nowhere near like even halfway or a quarter of the way, I bet. I played it for about maybe 2 hours earlier today, but I kept fucking up the thing I wanted to do. I want to get really good at stealing stuff, so I'm trying to work on that, but it's not great. I found a secret cave in one playthrough. Don't know what any of that does, but yeah, I enjoy playing it. I wish more people liked watching it, I guess. I found out that Bert doesn't know that there's a difference between a tidal wave and a tsunami. Well, he does think there's a difference. He thinks East Coast it's a tidal wave, West Coast it's a tsunami. It's kind of in the name. A tidal wave is caused by tidal events, and a tsunami is caused by geological events, basically. Now, I know people commonly call them all tidal waves, right? But they're not the same thing. A tidal wave is actually something called a tidal bore. And it's caused by natural phenomenon, like the same way tides are. And a tsunami is caused by volcanic eruptions, landslides, geological events. It has nothing to do with East Coast, West Coast. All right, let's see if we can stay together. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, I appreciate it, but it might cut out. My town is having like these internet outages that don't last long. Like some of them is even less than a minute, but some of them's like 1 to 3 minutes. And if it does that, then the YouTube video will just be gone. Twitch will reconnect, but YouTube won't. So I'm just letting you know we're having internet outages all across town. Even Mariah, 6 miles, 7 miles away is having internet outage at the same time I am. So clearly that's it.
Hey Daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome everybody. I am Will Bird. This is the Cold Beer Confessional. I don't know. I clicked on this channel watching the waves, but so there's supposed to be a tsunami, but I don't think it's supposed to hit there until midnight Pacific time, right? I don't know why he's already watching the wave. I guess to get viewers, but it's not supposed to be there till midnight Pacific time. Is that not what they said, or am I wrong? Does anybody know what time it was estimated to get there? Yeah, it should be in California around midnight on our coast. California, I guess. Hawaii just after 1 a.m. Okay. California is just after midnight. 1 a.m. our time. I get what you're saying. So technically the Hawaii one could be there in like an hour because we're talking Eastern time. I don't know how, it's hard for them to judge how big it's going to be, right? It's deceptive because it travels along the ocean, and when it's in open ocean, it doesn't look very high. But then when it hits the rising seafloor that comes to the coast, like where you have a beach, you walk out to it. Obviously it's not hundreds of feet deep when you go to the beach. That's when it stands up. It's incredibly deceptive. So I'm guessing this is Japan. I tried to message Atsuko. Mariah said she texted her. But I don't know. I don't know if she responded. That's like what? That's like almost 10 feet. 3 meters is almost 10 feet, right? And then the waves can continue for like, I think the warning I read said from 10 to 36 hours later. So like they get there and then you're still on alert for maybe up to a day and a half. Oh, I hear somebody talking now. I didn't have the volume on. It is Japanese, I think. We needed Tsuko here to translate.
12時まで行けますかね。あ、伸ばせる。12時5分。はい。12時5分ぐらいまで行けますよ。はい。
I don't think she lives like super close to the coast. It's only 10 foot tall, babe.
あ、燃料的にはね、無理しないでパイロットさんが言ってくれてるんで大丈夫ですよ。
I'm gonna go to sleep and wake up. Well, Hawaii will be gone. I don't know, kind of boring. But there you go. I guess I can let it play in the background. Kind of boring, just watching waves come in. Good luck if in Hawaii. She's probably busy, babe. She goes out with her mom. She goes out to dinner. She goes to see her mom. She does a lot of stuff. The Tokyo is not far from the coast, but they got Tokyo Bay, I guess, right? Which kind of insulates it. There's not a 10-foot wave's not gonna reach Tokyo. I think you're all right. Yeah, you will. You'll be asleep in 10 minutes. TikTok has convinced people that this is a real fucking bird. Okay? You tell me if you think this is a real... By the way, there is a bird that gets huge. It's called an Andine condor. You tell me if you think this is a real bird, okay? There is a bird that gets close to this big, maybe even this big. And there are so many people saying, yep, that's an Andean condor. They're huge. Andean condors, the crazy part is that they're 100% real after I'll grow up to 8 feet tall. Bro, did you look at the legs on it? Like, birds notoriously have extremely frail legs, right? Like chicken legs, right? Because they can fly. They don't have gigantic legs because they don't fucking walk. Look at the legs on this thing. It's got cankles. Look at the legs on them. Could you imagine going to a fucking Hooters and getting an Andean condor leg, and it comes out and they're like, here it is. It's 36 pounds. 36 pounds. Drumstick. Look at the legs on that motherfucker. And people are like, yep, this is real. That's an Andean condor. Look at that. Look at the legs of them. Clearly that's hiding a human leg and foot. Plus, I think there's a hatch right here. There are people yelling at other people saying, in the comments saying, are you stupid? Clearly, you've never been to Peru. This is an Andean condor. Now, they might have somebody at this condor area that dresses up like that so you take pictures with it or something. I don't know, right? You pay the man, you take a picture. That is not a bird, dude. That's not a bird. Bird that didn't skip leg day. You can look up other videos and it'll show this. Watch. Andean condor. There's some that'll show the real thing. There it is.
In Peru's Colca Canyon, you can see the...
Look at the legs, dude. Look at the legs. You can't... How does a bird fly with two 40-pound legs? That's 80 fucking pounds of legs. I'm going off what the Army told me. They told me if I lost a leg overseas, it would be about 40 pounds of leg. That's one leg. It's 80 pounds of leg. They can grow to be almost 8 foot tall or something crazy at this kind that's in Peru. But what the fuck is this, dude?
largest flying bird in the world. The Andean
Bro, the head doesn't even look real. Look at those legs, dude. Has this one got a that's its other leg? It's bigger than her legs. And she spent her whole ass life walking.
Condor. It lives right here.
Look at its legs. Look at its legs.
And is surprisingly friendly. It's used to people and
Its head looks like Trailer Travis, where its head and head skin looks like a testicle. Travis. What was Travis's last name? Trainwreck Travis. His head looks like a wrinkly ass testicle. That's all I can see every time I see him. And now this bird's head looks like it. They must share, common ancestors.
it lives right here and is
Look at that. Look at that. That's a ball sack if I've ever seen one. Clearly they lift something too heavy. Got a hernia or something poked out there. But that's a ball sack.
surprisingly friendly. It's used to people and even poses for photos.
It's used to people and poses. Do you think that some of these tourists are actually being fooled? They think it's a real bird? I'm serious, because obviously this is the spot to go watch it. They're always in the same area, and these people are posing with it, and it's acting like a bird. You think they're scamming? That would be such a cool grift. If it was a guy in a bird costume scamming tourists, and there's like another guy at a table saying, "Hey, if you want to take a picture of the bird, $5."
But if you visit, don't rush over too excited to
Those legs, though, bro.
take a selfie. Not because it's dangerous, but because after the photo, it might ask
I bet you they're scamming, especially, I hate to say it, but our Asian Pacific Islanders are notoriously gullible for tourist attractions at Tsuko. Hope you're safe, but you would be sitting by this bird, okay?
you for money. That's because it's not a wild condor. It's part of a tourist setup. A real Andean condor is
There's a real one. Look how little its legs are. This one's even got some type of collars on, and look how little its legs are. Look how tight, like its legs like as big around as my thumb.
huge, up to 5 feet long with a wingspan over 10 feet. Next to it, a
10-foot wingspan is insane.
dog looks like a plush
It would look gigantic for sure.
toy. Thankfully, they mostly eat carrion and rarely hunt.
Look how little its legs are. Again, the legs have got to be, even if you can't see the little hatch where the guy's clearly in there. Like, I don't think in the suit, nothing from this like tapered down neck part is real, or maybe that's where the head goes. But there's like even a hatch.
Animals. They're also one of the highest flying birds on Earth, reaching heights over 18,000 feet. If you skydive near the Andes, you might spot one in the sky.
They're just really bad at landing. That's why their legs are so heavy duty.
Some say condors are grateful animals, that after being rescued and released, they look back at humans as if saying thanks. But actually, that's just wishful thinking. Condors weigh over 30 pounds, which makes it hard for them to take off on the spot. What looks like 3 steps and a look back is really just them waiting for the right updraft to fly. In Peru,
Look at it. Look at that. And there are people arguing, saying, "No, you idiot. We see how uncultured you are. You don't know about the Andean condor."
you can see the world's largest flying bird, the Andean condor.
There's a release. So they think it's looking back, trying to tell them goodbye, but it's actually looking back, gauging the wind.
This is the largest Andean condor ever filmed. It has a wingspan of nearly 20 feet and stands 8 feet tall. It's
That one's actually real.
incredible.
8 foot tall.
He is filmed with his female courting her. The Andean condor is the largest bird of prey in the
Even its leg is about this big, like about as big around as like a quarter to a 50-cent piece. I can't believe they're fucking people calling other people idiots saying, "Can you tell it's a real bird?"
world. This particular specimen is believed to be around 60 years old, meaning it has lived 6 decades with an impressive wingspan and longevity. It was filmed by Andean farmers because the 2 condors landed near their
If you see an Andean condor,
Look at the leg. Dude, look at, I can't get over this. I can't get over these fucking, look at the leg, dude. There's some little chubby kids in there. Fucking sweating his ass off.
in Colca Canyon. Don't panic. They're not gonna attack. They'll actually pose for pics. But then they'll ask for money. Seriously, in Peru's Colca Canyon, these massive birds are literally paid models, charging $10 a photo.
$10 a photo.
This is the largest Andean condor ever filmed. It has a wingspan of nearly 20 feet and stands.
Its head looks fake.
Can you believe it? The world's largest flying bird can't even take off on its own. It literally needs the wind to lift off. Meet the Andean condor, one of the biggest flying animals.
It's just some guy running around squatting. Look how fake the costume is.
Canyon. It can grow up to 5.
This is the Colca.
This is the Andean condor.
That's a big bitch.
Soar for over 100 miles without flapping its wings even once. How? With a colossal 10-foot wingspan. It's not a flyer, it's a master glider. It surfs on invisible currents of air, staying aloft for hours using almost no energy. But this king of the sky isn't a fierce hunter. It's nature's most magnificent cleanup crew, using its sharp eyesight to find and recycle carcasses, which keeps the mountain ecosystem healthy. This energy saving.
Yeah, they might be. I don't know. I'm just going off what I heard. They might not be that tall.
Lifestyle is so effective, they can live up to 75 years in the wild, making them one of the longest living birds on the entire planet. For more magnificent animal stories, make sure you follow and subscribe.
That's insane. I can't believe people are. What the fuck? You idiot. You never heard of an Andean condor? Clearly. Look at this one.
En el cañón del Colca, en Perú, se puede observar al ave voladora más grande del mundo.
Oh, they hug each other.
Con
Perfect.
una envergadura de hasta 3 metros, vuela más alto que un parapente. Pero en Perú, lo verás posando para fotos con la gente. No me malinterpreten.
It's a real bird, you idiot. Look at it.
No es su mascota.
I heard that our favorite rage bait, the Necessary Conversation podcast. Wait a second. Did someone make a cartoon about it? In a nutshell. I heard that the dad's missing currently because he had hip surgery.
Dad, is this what you want America to look like?
Who's the law? The law. Who's the law?
What?
Donald Trump.
It's going to take time.
Do you think Donald Trump lied?
Who's the law?
The law.
Who's the law?
What?
Donald Trump.
It's going to take time.
Dad, were you affected by the Pope's death?
Who's the law? Who's the law?
What?
Donald Trump.
It's going to take time. What the?
In a nutshell, who's the law? That's very good. I heard the dad is actually missing. This looks like an in-person thing. I've never seen this one.
So I'm going to present you with this card. This is your birthday present. 70 is a big one. I would like you to read this out loud for everyone.
Can I tear the envelope?
You can do whatever you like.
Okay, there you go. It says,
I think the son had cancer and almost died. And that's why he has like this passion to donate to his family and like bring back or whatever. And also, I don't know if his cancer had anything to do with like his face, but he's got a pretty, he's hard to tell because he's so pale complexion, like a lighter complexion, but he's got a pretty crazy scar on his face too.
what do you get for the man who has everything?
I made that image.
I'm afraid already.
Happy 70th birthday and retirement, Dad. These are both huge milestones, and I wanted to get you something to show you how much I appreciate you being my dad and working as hard as you have for so long. So my gift to you is my vote. If Donald Trump wins the Republican nomination, I will vote for him on your behalf in the next presidential election. Happy birthday.
That is a good present.
One communist converted.
Good present.
I think it's more of like a joke, obviously, but he lives in California. I don't think his vote changed the outcome of the election.
Oh my God.
There you go. That's yours. Happy birthday and happy retirement.
Thank you.
I would, oh my gosh. That's a good one.
Oh, someone said he didn't actually go through with it. But have been following for at least a year, and that's the first time I'm hearing about it. And it's normal to follow up on these conversation stuff on the internet. He would never do it. Oh, so apparently, I mean, I wouldn't care if he did vote for Trump in California. It doesn't make a fucking difference. But people are saying he didn't actually do it. Anyways, the dad's missing. That's why I'm here. Sage told me. And I feel like if it's just the mom, you're more likely to get through to her. Right? Because I've even seen the mom answer one way. Like, say the answer is, do you believe this is good? And she's like, no, it's not good. Then the dad answers something opposite, saying, yes, well, you got to think about it. And then the mom changed her answer. That's insane. I wonder how long the dad has been off the podcast. I feel like, let's just go through them. Fuck it. We're going to be mad either way.
I'm getting out. I'm getting out. Well, you should have done it already. I told you 3 times. I'm looking at your seatbelt. Step out the car.
There you have it, Mom. Do you believe that video is real, first of all? Do you think this really happened?
I don't know. It looked real, I guess.
It is. I'm just asking you, your kind of first line of psychological defense against the reality of the situation is usually to say, I didn't see it. I don't think that happened. So you did see this video. Do you think it happened?
Apparently, yes.
Okay.
Walter. I think Jeff Dunnett's puppet's named Walter, the Walmart greeter guy.
Do you think that guy deserves to be
only 1 week?
Fit the bill of these maniac criminals pouring.
Dr. J, do you watch everything all day? I'm not complaining. You tell me a lot of stuff that I don't know.
Over the border that Trump seems so consumed with?
No.
So you don't think that guy should be deported?
Okay, I don't know the guy. I don't know why, the story behind it. If he,
I told you the story.
Someone?
Nope.
Someone?
Nope.
Rob someone?
Nope. I told you who he is. He is married to a U.S. citizen. He is a chiropractor in Oregon.
But how do you know this?
Because it's been reported on by every news outlet in the world.
Last week I said this. I said, I think they are getting some of these arrests wrong. I did say that.
Okay.
But if they got
that right there is already progress. I think they're getting some of their arrests wrong. The dad would just say Donald Trump's the law. He was actually in favor of deporting U.S. citizens. The dad was.
Say that.
Okay.
But if they got it wrong, then once they take him to wherever they're taking him and figure this out, he will be let go.
That's not true.
I don't think Dr. J sleeps.
For every wrong that they're getting, they're also getting the right ones.
Hold on.
His own kids deported, yep.
What about...
called them communists and said they would be deported. And the mom... One of the most... There's been a bunch of stuff that I'm like, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. One of the most disturbing things was they were talking about potentially using lethal force against protesters. And the question becomes, like, do you think lethal force should be used? And they're like, yes, that's why we want you to join our side so you and Haley don't die. Instead of being like, no. Don't use lethal force on protesters holding a sign or just living somewhere or being somewhere. They're like, no, yeah, they should use lethal force, but we need you to come join our side so you don't die in the purge. Like, what the fuck?
See, Gabbard now has the evidence, it's concrete, that Obama did try to change that.
My dad would probably not agree with my current political beliefs. I can almost guarantee it, right? It's changed a lot. It was changing while he was still alive. And we didn't really get into arguments and stuff. I just tried to clear things up for him. And he knew that he wasn't well informed. He just watched like Fox News and saw stuff on Facebook. And he would often ask me if stuff was true. But there is not a chance. There's not a doubt in my mind that if something come down to me or one of my sisters or his support of Trump, he would choose us 1,000 times over. Like my dad would become a fugitive, like murder somebody, murder fucking Trump if that's what it took to take care of me and my sisters.
Election in 2016 with the Russian hoax. He tried to do Trump in. What about that? What about all that evidence?
Trump won that election.
He was the leader that was in meetings with.
Trump won that election.
Yes, but they had brought up.
Trump won.
By the way, during the debate, did you notice that Gibbs tried to say over and over and over again, I finally pointed it out because I caught it, that what Obama did with this report tried to affect the outcome of the election, Trump getting elected. The report was commissioned in December after Trump had already won. He was president-elect. How the fuck can a report after the election affect Trump in the current election? It's already happened.
The election.
It was Hillary Clinton's idea to bring up the Russian hoax.
Trump won the election. What are you talking about?
But it was a conspiracy that they had going on to overthrow our government and to make him not win that election. And it's in.
Again, she's saying the same thing. This happened in December. We voted in November. Trump won, declared the winner. Obama had already come out and said, we're not going to relitigate this. He won, but we do want to know how far this went. And on December 9th, he said, I want to know what happened with Russia's involvement. But Trump was already president-elect, and he had already stated, we're not going to relitigate it. It's not going to change the outcome. You know, Russia didn't change the outcome. This is America spoke. We're gonna honor the election. But how does this affect his 2016 victory after he already won?
Thousands of pages, and they're going to release that. And the people also, Biden was in every one of those meetings, along with Comey, Brennan, Clapper, Rice. What about all that dossier that they paid money for?
If my parents would have fell down like the Telegram, like Phil Godlewski or Patriot Street Fighter rabbit hole, I would have lost it. I don't know how I would have freaked out on them probably. I know my dad did like to watch the First Amendment auditors that go around and like record the police and the post office and stuff. He liked that a lot. And a lot of those guys are like full blown Trump tards. And they'll slip up sometimes and throw some conspiracy shit in there. I was watching one today and the guy's like, well, because Trump's the greatest for America or whatever, while he's walking around. And he got some stuff from that. And then Facebook, man, he would send me so many fucking things from Facebook and say, is this real? Did this really happen? Are you believing this or something like that? And I'd always have to come back and be like, that's not true. That's, they made that shit up.
For all that? What about that? We just push that under the rug and go on?
All of that shit, the dossier was investigated. All of this stuff came out years ago.
My dad didn't believe everything he saw on the internet, like some boomers do, like even AI videos and shit. The problem was like almost like social credit. When something like blew up and was viral, that made my parents more likely to believe it because so many people were sharing it. So many people had watched it. It had so many comments on it. They would be more likely to believe it. But the problem is a lot of times the wrong stuff blows up.
This is very old news.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
And it's fake news. Quite frankly, it's fake news.
What about Tulsi Gabbard?
If those lists come out and his name is in them in a credible way, will you denounce Donald Trump?
I might, yes.
I might. I can't wait for MAGA to be like, well, those kids had it coming. He probably did them a favor. They got to learn early, especially with all these immigrants here that are trying to rape them. At least they know what's coming, right? He gave them a heads up or some shit.
Okay. I think that's coming. I don't think they're going to be able to stop this. It's like no one gives a shit about anything else.
Yeah.
I just watched some press conference he gave in Scotland this morning where he was like, windmills.
Here's one I know they say. Where the fuck were those kids' parents? Don't you think they should have kept them out of that? Maybe it's not the fault of the guy who just shows up and there's a kid there to fuck. Why weren't the parents there? Where have they been? Probably strung out liberals on drugs, immigrants.
They ruined the landscape. We need to completely abolish them. Windmills should be outlawed.
You need to take a class on how to get his voice a little bit better.
A class.
Where is that?
Let's all sign up for the class.
Send me the link. I'll sign up.
I think the biggest terrible thing of the century is Obama.
We know.
Your dad always said Obama was behind everything.
Oh my God.
That's all coming into the clear.
None of that's real.
It's all real.
And also you understand that is feeding you that. He's posting these memes of Obama getting arrested. He's posting a meme of Obama as OJ. Like, he's just fueling that. And it goes back to what I just said, the adversarial nature of your worldview. Trump is saying...
Trump needs an enemy. I thought about this the other day. A lot of Trump supporters will admit, like, he says stuff that's like out of pocket. He spreads, AI videos. But there's someone always worse. During the debate, right? We brought up like Trump and his campaign and blah, blah, blah. But Hunter Biden, if there wasn't an enemy for Trump, they would probably just be like, that guy's a fucking douchebag. But he can be a douchebag as long as he's not as bad as the people he's going after.
Here's the guy you should be pissed at. It's Obama, not me. Don't be pissed at me. Here it is. This is the enemy. A dude who hasn't been president for a decade.
I'm telling you, it is 100% the fact that they watch Newsmax, because I sat there watching this shit and it was like, I'm looking around like, this is unbelievable. It is just lie after lie, and it's grift after grift, and none of it is real.
If those lists come out and his name is in them in a credible way.
Did you hear that? I'm pretty sure she just name dropped Israel there. Uh-oh.
Part of this reporting that came out in the Wall Street Journal says basically that Pam Bondi has looked at all these files and told Trump in May, your name's all over this shit. And that's why it hasn't come out. Do you believe that part of the reporting?
Yeah, I don't know. I did see that. I don't know.
Also, what a piece of shit. Pam Bondi is just sitting on all these people that have children, just sitting on it and then lying to the American
because Trump's name's all over it.
That we don't even have a list. That bitch should be fired and put in jail. She is covering up.
Burt Lynch thinks that Pam Bondi needs to come out and say, okay, here was the original files when they first were going to prosecute Epstein and Trump's name's not on it. But then here's all these extra files they added to it with Trump's name all over it, because Burt thinks that the Democrats added Trump's name to it for over and over and over and over and over again, I guess.
Like the biggest scandal of like this decade.
No, the biggest scandal is Obama, but...
Hang on.
I know. We'll talk about it later.
Obama ain't in those lists. Bill Clinton is for sure. And I think he's going down.
Bill Clinton, Obama could be in there for sure. Who knows?
Right. But I'm fine with that.
Right. I don't give a who it is. If you
there's a famous or not a famous. There's a viral tweet. I think I shared it on my Facebook. Let me see if I can find it. A tweet that's going around, a screenshot of it that's viral currently. Imagine thinking like this. It says, "Oh no, I really, really hope Bill Clinton isn't in the Epstein files. I'll have to get rid of my Bill Clinton hat, my Bill Clinton sneakers, my Bill Clinton cologne, my Bill Clinton watch, and take down my Bill Clinton flag, and I'll have to delete my Bill Clinton NFT trading cards. What will I do with my Bill Clinton Bible?" Like, it does not matter to us nearly as much. If all of them's on the fucking list, it matters to you, bro.
were there, you deserve to go to jail. I don't care who it is.
Yes, Republican, Democrat, I don't give a shit, right?
Yes,
So,
whoever did that to the little girls needs to go to hell and needs to be in prison the rest of their life.
including Trump, right?
If he's on there, yes, yes,
Okay, so this could really be the straw that breaks the camel's back for you.
it could be, yes.
Part of this reporting that came out in the Wall Street Journal says basically that Pam Bondi has looked at all these files. Your whole thing, not your whole thing, but a big piece of why.
So explain to me. Trump says, I never had the privilege of going to the island. Either one, he's being serious and he considers it a privilege to go to the island where kids are fucked. Or two, which might be worse, he's being sarcastic and making a joke about going to an island where kids got fucked. You know that was not on his teleprompter. That was 100% not on his teleprompter. He just decided to go off his head, I guess. I don't know. That definitely was not in the teleprompter, for sure.
Is on children. I know,
Yes.
I know. And that is wrong, but there has to be a reason that he's going to pardon her.
So she won't sell him out.
It's to open up all the rest of the devil people that will go to hell.
All the rest of the devil people that'll go to hell. I'm glad she clarified that. There has to be a reason that he's pardoning her. The only thing that I can hope for, and she's probably afraid of being murdered, honestly, when you're at that level, I would be. Like, I don't do a whole lot of conspiracies, but I would be afraid of being murdered. But the only thing that I can hope for is once she's issued clemency, once she's issued a pardon, they can't take that shit back. So if she had literal balls of steel and she's offered a pardon with a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you can't say Trump's name, and then she comes forward and she's like, Trump was all over the fight. He fucked this kid. He fucked that kid. He was there like fucking 10 times this month. That would be a fucking boss move, but I don't see it happening.
Let me just paint this picture. Let me paint what is most likely here. He is pardoning her because she knows he's in the files. I think Trump would pardon her in a deal basically to be like, we're going to pardon you. I want you to turn over everybody except me. Don't mention my name.
Yeah, I don't think that would be the deal. That is your opinion.
How could you ever know? How could you ever know? Other than just blind worship. You could never know. We typically don't have someone so closely tied to it saying, I want you to testify. We never have this scenario where the president goes to somebody and says, I want you to testify. I'm going to give you immunity. But they're also entangled in the entire thing.
What you think it is. The deal, I think, would be, I will pardon you if you tell the truth and if you give the names of the people.
So her lawyer the big news that came out today was her lawyer's already said that if she goes in front of Congress, she plans to plead the fifth unless offered clemency or a pardon. So they put this public document out. Her lawyer released it today and says, look, either clemency or a pardon, or even if she goes in front of Congress, she's going to plead the fifth to every question.
That did this. And it's not going to be Trump. It's going to be the Clintons. It's going to be all the other people that are on there.
Here's the crazy part. They already have the list. It's already in their possession. He doesn't need her. What he needs is...
So the only way around the fifth, the only way around the Fifth Amendment of self-incrimination is to take away the self-incrimination. If you've been told, like, you have immunity, anything you say here you won't be prosecuted on, you can compel somebody to testify and they can't plead the fifth because the fifth is to stop from self-incrimination. If there's no chance of self-incrimination, then you can't plead the fifth. I think we had that in that rapper's case where the one rapper was testifying about the other rapper and giving the lawyer a hard time. I don't know if you guys remember that.
for her to omit him from those lists publicly.
No, I don't think that's it. I think it's the other way around.
Your whole thing, not your whole thing.
I wanted to see if they talked about the dad. I don't want him to like die or anything, but
Entertaining, pardoning the woman in prison that was behind all of this shit to keep her quiet.
No, to open her up. I think to open her up.
yeah, the fact that he sent his own personal lawyer to go talk to her, that's the assistant attorney general. It's his literal criminal defense lawyer.
And tell us everything.
But she has lied multiple times in all of these proceedings that led to her incarceration.
Because she's afraid for her life.
Or start like a nonpartisan special investigation or special investigator. Send them.
But why would she?
To the DOJ.
Even if she gets pardoned. I don't think she's like a trustworthy person in this entire scenario.
I don't know. She's going to dump on some people and she's going to raise some people up. So who's it going to be? Which side?
Do you think someone like that deserves a pardon from the president of the United States, like a get out of jail free card, what she did to all those children?
No, I don't.
And so if he pardons her, what will your reaction to that be?
I'll be very upset. I would be very upset.
So can you see that this is corruption, that he's a sleazy piece of shit for letting somebody like that go?
So it's weird. The Trump story changed. Trump never said this. Trump only said we had a falling out about 15 years ago. His campaign leaked and went on interviews and said that he was hitting on a younger girl and Trump banned him from Mar-a-Lago. Now, Jeffrey Epstein's never been a member of Mar-a-Lago, like a signed copy card carrying member. He was just Trump's guest, so he didn't have to become a member. Now, it just came out that that the ultimate sin he committed, that Trump quit talking to him for 15 years, was that he would hire Trump's staff as his own. He's like, you just don't do that. You just don't do it. Trump just said hired help. He hired help. He would take Trump employees and hire them for himself. Nothing about hitting on a girl. Nothing about he was disgusted by it, like the campaign said back when Jeffrey Epstein was first arrested. Michael Wolff, who wrote a Trump biography and talked to Jeffrey Epstein, says that Jeffrey Epstein says that Melania was introduced to Trump by Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, the first place they ever fucked was on the Lolita Express, his plane. It's 727-100, I think. And that Trump got off on making friends with Jeffrey Epstein's friends and then fucking their wives.
Free.
No, I cannot say that about the president of the United States. I like Donald Trump.
So even, let's say he pardons her, and let's say he runs for a third term. Would you vote for him again if he pardons Ghislaine Maxwell?
I don't know. I don't know.
He's really entertaining.
If two quantum particles that are entangled, whatever information one of them has, the other one has it instantaneously. So there's no speed concerned where like the transition of that or the transfer of that information takes place, which goes against all physics that we know. Nothing is supposed to be able to go faster.
Someone said, your dad can't grasp Sesame Street saying be nice to your neighbor. Why the fuck are you throwing quantum theoretics at him?
In the speed of light, that information can. And so there are some theories that state those aren't two particles. They're actually the same particle in two different places at the same time. And if that holds true, then you can extrapolate that out even further to say that all matter is a single particle jumping around constantly, which would mean we are the same.
Oh, shit. I skipped off the best part.
Whole thing, not your whole thing, would pardon her in a deal.
He's really entertaining.
If two, there are some theories that state those aren't two particles. They're actually the same particle in two different places at the same time. And if that holds true, then you can extrapolate that out even further to say that all matter is a single particle jumping.
That is true. So one of the first victims to come forward, her and her dad, that was Virginia, her and her dad worked for Trump. And Ghislaine came and hit her up and said, hey, could you do a massage over here? We'll pay good, blah, blah, blah. And she specifically said that she trusted Ghislaine and Epstein because they were good friends with Trump. They seen him around the club. They knew who they were. Everybody knew who they were. So that's the reason that she trusted that this is going to be in the up and up. And then she got there and he turned around. He flipped over nude. He was already nude when she entered the room. He flipped over, he was erect. And he fondled her breast, and she had like a crash course with like Ghislaine Maxwell of how to do a sensual massage. Like none of it was above board.
Around constantly, which would mean we are the same thing. I am you, Mom. I am you, Dad. I am you, Haley. We are all everything.
We are Negan.
Yeah. Mom, do you think it's possible that me and Dad are the same person?
No. Well, you got cells. You have cells of each other.
I do have cells, yeah. If two quantum particles that are entangled, whatever. Dad, do you think human consciousness comes from your brain or comes from somewhere else?
No idea.
I do. So I don't like all of Trump's bullshit excuses. But I do like the fact that he's talking about it more because he will slip up more. He's a fucking retard, right? The stories will change, the timelines will change, and I don't know. I don't think his hardcore supporters are gonna, but at least I get a little bit of satisfaction out of knowing that he's fucking lying through his teeth. They had somebody come on, an intelligence agent, an intelligence officer that does body, what is it? Like reading people's body signals or whatever. Come and do it while Trump was talking about Epstein, which was kind of funny. What is this?
At Zaxby's, you can lemon pepper any way you want.
Oh shit, hold on.
Lemon pepper wings, lemon pepper sandwiches.
Somehow I opened an incognito tag. A guy was arrested trying to save his house from a fire.
Small town in Grayson County, Kentucky.
There's something about that southern hospitality, that warm, inviting, and everybody knows everybody.
How many times did you punch me? A bunch. How many times did you punch me? A bunch. I was putting out a fire, you idiot.
How many times did you punch me? A bunch. How many times did you punch me? A bunch. I was putting out a fucking fire, you idiot.
Hey, take that.
A man's house caught on fire, or FAR,
Put fire out.
as they say in both Kentucky and here in West Virginia.
Damn lithium battery blew up.
It sounded like a bomb.
Oh, 2 or 3 times. Yeah.
That man should be able to risk his own personal safety to put out that fire, right?
Go ahead, let me get that back in there. No. Get out. I ain't gonna let my house burn.
Well, wrong, according to these cops who showed up on the scene and beat this man to a bloody pulp and arrested him just for trying to put out a fire at his own home.
You're gonna stop me from saving my own home. My safety is none of your concern.
But that's not the most amazing part of this story. When the government went to have this man and his son indicted by a grand jury, I kid you not, they indicted the police officer instead.
Somehow the grand jury the district court's finding and indicted Sergeant Newton on misdemeanor charges. This action is unprecedented in my experience.
Can the grand jury do that? Well, I have the body cam that turned this grand jury against the government. Let's go through it. You know, when police step over the line and violate your rights, what makes it so egregious is the imbalance of power. You simply can't do anything to stop it at that moment. Just like that, you're up against a giant that you cannot fight alone. That's exactly what happened to a man in Florida who broke his back and became paralyzed in 2021. Instead of the government, he found himself fighting his own insurance company, who only offered him $20,000. But this man did not settle for only $20,000 for his injury. Instead, he called today's sponsor, Morgan & Morgan, and they were able to help him win over $120 million. The reason I like Morgan & Morgan is that they fight for their clients just like I do. As the nation's biggest personal injury law firm, they have the firepower to take on insurance companies and win. The best part is that you don't pay anything unless you win your case. If you or someone you know has been injured and needs help, you can start your claim now at forthepeople.com/thecivilrightslawyer, found in the description and filling out this simple form, or by scanning the QR code on the screen from your phone's camera. Now let's get back to the video. And welcome back to the Civil Rights Lawyer channel, where by subscribing, you can do all of these things. Be entertained, be informed, be educated on constitutional rights, and also perform the very serious task of helping to hold your government accountable for acts of misconduct that we document on this channel. As I mentioned, this video comes to us from, I believe it's pronounced Litchfield, Kentucky, which is in Grayson County. Now, this has been in at least one news report that I've seen, but this was actually submitted directly to me by the guy in this video, Lanny. Now, Lanny, if you've ever lived in West Virginia or Kentucky, you know Lanny.
You're getting ready to go to jail. I'm going to shit. All right. You lied to me. You said the fire department. You do not get to swing on the police. I didn't swing until you hit me. Have a seat for a second. What the is your name? This right here is going to cost you your job. That's going to cost you, big boy, because you've never met somebody like me.
I don't know his specific genealogy, but I guarantee he's one of the descendants of the people who George Washington and others placed in these mountains to both stop the British and also the Native Americans from attacking people in the East. These people have always been fiercely independent. They were willing to fight the largest empire on earth over like a few cents in taxes. You don't mess with their sense of liberty and independence. You don't mess with their stuff. Not a lot has changed in some areas of the country. Anyway, Lanny's house caught on fire. In Appalachia, when your house catches on fire, yeah, you call the fire department, but you don't sit around and wait on the government to do it for you. Yeah,
especially something like this, like the batteries exploded or some shit. Like, hell yeah, I'd fight that fire.
Call 911 if somebody breaks into your house, but you don't wait on the police to arrive. You protect yourself. You protect your family. You protect your home. And that's what Lanny was in the process of doing with his son and other family members when police officers from the Litchfield Police Department arrived. Now, the fire department was not there yet. The police arrived.
I don't know. I'm not sure what we're dealing with just yet. Where's it at?
It's in the basement.
Negative.
Sir, come on out. Come on out.
Damn lithium battery blew up.
It sounded like a bomb.
Oh, 2 or 3 times. Yeah. You got it put out? No, it's still going.
Officers ordered Lanny and his son Darren to leave the smoke-filled house for what they said were safety reasons, but the pair resisted.
Let's get back. Well, here, let me get that back in there. No. Get out. I ain't gonna let my house burn. No, there's hundreds of things here.
And when they resisted, Officer Justin Cockrell tased the son Darren Fentress.
Holy fuck. Like, I understand telling them, no, hey, I wouldn't do that. Don't go back in there. Or especially if they're like distraught and like out of it and screaming and crying. He's like, hell, if the fire department ain't here yet, let me get back in there.
Jail. I'm on the shit.
He was only getting out of the way for the fucking fire department.
All right. Get out now. Get out now. Get out now. Dude. Right here, this fire.
And that time, his father, Lanny, was holding a garden hose because he was trying to put out the fire. And this is what the cops allege, that Lanny, holding that garden hose, swung it at the officers.
Get out here now. No, I'm done. I've done got the fire out. You are done. You're both going to jail. I'm going to jail. You're going to jail for assault third. So because you touched the police officer, that's why. I will.
Because you touched a fucking police officer, that's why. Show up to a fire and tase the victims. There was a skit I watched one time, and it was basically saying, imagine if like other departments worked like the fucking police department. So it's like this firefighter, he like fucking kicks down a door, and he's like, "Is there any fires in here? I gotta search for fires." And like a dog attacks him, he like fucking hits it with the axe and shit. He beats the hell out of like the homeowner. Only the police are allowed to act like this for some reason.
Get on the ground now. You think calling me a in my home? Get on the ground now. I'm not getting on the ground.
So then Officer Newton tased him. Then when they finally got Lanny out of the house, as they're walking him to an ambulance, you can see these visible taser probes sticking out of his chest and his stomach, and his face apparently now a bloody pulp.
This bullshit. Ma'am, step back. Now, step back. Let me take a picture of my husband. You can take a picture, but you can also step back. Yeah, you overstepped your bail this time. Okay.
Lanny was not happy at all, and he was not going quietly.
What gives you the right to make me leave my home when I'm trying to put a fire out? You lied to me. You said the fire department. They lied to me. They said the fire department. You are. Was to not go back inside that home for you. No, you made me come out. I wasn't fighting. I was fighting to get back in the damn house to put the fire out. What the is your name? Sergeant Newton, sir. Who? Sergeant Newton. What Newton? E-W-T-O-N. No, what's your dad's name? My dad's name has something to do with this. He's not from here. No. Well, you won't be from here very long.
Hell yeah, they beat the shit out of him. Look at his face.
You're going to stop me from saving my own home. Hey, my safety is none of your concern. This right here is going to cost you your job.
After this happened, back when the government...
I hope it puts him in fucking jail.
Here was the first news reports that came out of the situation. The headline was this: father, son arrested for fighting police after Lickfield basement fire reveals guns, ammo, 2 men.
That's a very, very biased headline.
Were arrested in Lickfield after fighting police officers that were attempting to clear a fire in a basement, which contained a large amount of ammunition and guns. The 2 men attempted to re-enter the home despite being told to stay away from the building. When blocked from entering by officers, both men shoved the officers, who then told the men they were under arrest. Lanny Fentress continued to resist arrest by punching and throwing things at the police officers before being tased as well. Afterward, both men were apprehended. While being treated by EMS, Lanny Fentress continued to be uncooperative and refused to give the officer his information. Both men were then transported to the Grayson County Detention Center. Lanny Fentress is charged with menacing, 3rd-degree terroristic threatening, 3rd-degree assault of a police officer, and 2nd-degree wanton endangerment of a police officer. Aaron Fentress is charged with menacing, resisting arrest, and 2nd-degree wanton endangerment of a police officer. Both of these
I want to be charged with menacing one day before I die.
Were treated for smoke inhalation and injuries at the emergency room and released. Oh, thank God the officers are okay. This is how things normally go when police officers control the narrative. And everything was going swimmingly until the cases were presented at the grand jury.
A Litchfield police officer responding to a house fire is accused of assaulting a man and his adult son. Sergeant DJ Newton went to court this morning and pleaded not guilty.
Things get heated after Litchfield police and other first responders were called to a home on Risen Drive. This is Sergeant DJ Newton's body cam. The house is smoky from the fire when officers told Lanny Fentress and his adult son Darren to leave the
Damn, even after they cleaned him up, look how rough he looks.
home, fearing for their safety, they wouldn't leave.
Get out now. Taser, taser, taser.
A Grayson County special grand jury has now indicted Newton for this incident for misdemeanor charges of assault, terroristic threatening, menacing, and criminal trespassing. Lanny
Menacing. God damn it, I want to be charged with menacing. That sounds so cool.
Darren were arrested and charged with menacing, assault, and wanton endangerment of a police officer, but those charges have now been dropped. Litchfield police say Newton is on leave without pay after being indicted. Officer Justin Cockrell
He told him, you're not going to be here for long. You're not going to be from here.
Police investigation is also underway. Lanny Fentress messaged WDRB Investigate saying the body cam speaks for itself. Newton's attorney Thomas Clay released a statement saying somehow the grand jury reversed the district court's finding and indicted Sergeant Newton on misdemeanor charges. This action is unprecedented in my experience.
The Lickfield Police Department issued the following statement regarding Officer Newton's indictment. On November 13th, 2024, Lickfield Police Department became aware of an indictment issued by Grayson Circuit Court stemming from a special called grand jury against Sergeant DJ Newton for multiple misdemeanor charges, including assault in the 4th degree, terroristic threatening in the 3rd degree, menacing, and criminal trespass in the 1st degree. Lickfield Police Department will update with more information as it becomes available. We would defer to the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office for specific information on these charges. At this time, Sergeant Newton is on leave without pay. Lickfield Police Department cannot comment on any internal action being taken at this time until the final disposition of any charges. So they had called a special grand jury just to indict Lanny. But remember, I told you about the fine people from West Virginia and Kentucky. I think when they saw that body cam footage and they compared it to the statement that was provided or the testimony that was provided by Officer Newton.
Breaking news.
Sorry.
And they saw that it didn't match up, just like you see in many of these videos. What the officers are describing is not what happened. They saw a man who was defending his own home from this fire, and they believed it was reasonable not to let police officers drag you out of your own house, especially when they weren't the fire department. The fire department wasn't there. They had no solution. They had no business dragging him out of his own house, much less beating him to a pulp and tasing him for, quote, his own safety. That wasn't for his own safety. That was because he didn't do what they told him to do and was willing to physically resist, which he did. Because it was on body cam, the grand jurors got to see what actually happened, and they turned the tables on the government. So now the government is prosecuting its own cop, which it doesn't want to do. So they have to bring.
The only way I could see it, some type of, if he was endangering someone else, like if he drug his wife back into the fire, or his son, or like if a cop used force to stop you from fucking getting in a car when you're shit-faced drunk, right? Something like that. But going into his own house, endangering himself, I don't see any way they made a case out of this.
Bring in a special judge just to hear the case. And I guess they probably have to bring in a special prosecutor as well. So what I would look for to happen is for this to go away. The grand jurors, the citizens wanted that officer prosecuted, but the government will not want that officer prosecuted. And I suspect that the charges will disappear quietly, unless they can't disappear quietly. And that's where you come in. If you love America and you love freedom and you believe in the right of an American citizen, the right of a Kentuckian to defend his own home against fire and not to be dragged out of it by anybody, then you can support Lanny by spreading this footage and letting people know what's going on here. The people have spoken through this grand jury. Don't let the government undo that. If this falls out of the public eye, the government is going to dismiss the charges against the officer, somehow recharge Lanny under Kentucky law. I'm sure they can do it. And this time they'll do something differently. But don't let them do that. Share this footage, let people see what happened, and decide for themselves. While I couldn't show a lot of the violence in this video, I will link the raw footage below so that you can watch it for yourself. You can see Officer Newton, or one of the officers, just repeatedly punching Lanny in the face. I mean, you do not cause that level of destruction on somebody's face without doing it intentionally by striking them or punching them in the face. The decision was made here to beat Lanny.
Yeah, they fucked him up.
Any bloody faces on behalf of the officers, despite what the news media said in the initial reports. I'm sure there's going to be more update videos on this one. Maybe I'll interview Lanny as well. We'll have to see. You can follow along by subscribing both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. Follow me on Twitter at JohnBryanESQ, especially if you like completely unrelated history stuff. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.
Here's a video. This is on the debate topic we did the other day. I found it, well, actually, Jennifer found it after the debate, but it's a pretty good video.
Obama
I've only watched a portion of it, but it seems like a good video.
did a treason. Now, will you all please stop talking about the Epstein files? On July 18th, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, who recently invoked Trump's wrath for disagreeing with his alternative facts about Iran, found a way to wrest control of the media cycle and perhaps prove her loyalty once again. Gabbard held a press conference to announce her office's sudden findings that during the 2016 election, the Obama administration's investigation into Russian interference was actually treason.
The expressed intent and what followed afterward can only be described as a years-long coup and a treasonous conspiracy.
In the press release that followed, the smoking gun evidence was the fact that the Obama administration acknowledged Russia tried to influence the 2016 presidential election.
In this system, there is to be a peaceful transition of power. So, yes, this is a
This report came out after. How the fuck?
treasonous conspiracy that subverts the will of the American people.
But MAGA loves a good conspiracy theory. So Tulsi and Trump are swapping out the Epstein.
The reason that I think the Epstein thing is so bad for Trump is this is pulling out all the cards. Barack Hussein Obama, treason. Treason. Do you know the definition of treason? Levying war against the U.S. or aiding and abetting the enemy in a war against the U.S. So actively fighting against the U.S. in a war, or aiding our enemies in fighting against the U.S. and being a U.S. resident, citizen, whatever. Plus, you have to have, for a conviction, you have to have, because this law was written so long ago, you have to have 2 witnesses to the act of treason or a confession in open court. This is the nuclear option, right? This isn't Biden destroyed the economy, open borders, the laptop from hell. Obama treason is the nuclear option.
Epstein conspiracy for the Russia election interference hoax, the Obama connection. After the bizarre press conference, Trump then posted AI slop of Obama getting arrested in the White House, bizarrely set to the Village People's YMCA, which I'm going to replace with whatever I find at the top of North Korea's charts on Spotify. Enjoy.
This is our president reposting this AI video.
Now, actually charging President Obama with treason would be even more absurd and ridiculous than the press conference or that video, because treason is a very specific, very serious, and very misunderstood crime. No American has been convicted of treason since 1949. But from a lawyer's perspective, absurd and ridiculous is the legal theme of the Trump administration. So Obama needs to lawyer up now. Let's talk about why. And don't worry, we are not going to forget about the pedophile-shaped elephant in the room. In 2016, an age ago, back when most of us thought—
I've got that sound effect. I love it. I don't use it enough. The anime wow. Where's that Tsuko?
It was darkly hilarious.
Y'all are making me nervous.
Trump was running for president. There were credible reports from intelligence agencies that Vladimir Putin intended to wage a sophisticated cyber warfare campaign against the United States, specifically to hack the 2016 election into the outcome that would most benefit Russia. U.S. intelligence agencies contemplated several dire scenarios, including the possibility of Russia directly hacking into U.S. election infrastructure like polling stations. And these fears were well-founded. At this point, Russia had spent years perfecting their cyber warfare toolkit, including the first confirmed cyber attack on a power grid in 2015, which led to outages for over 230,000 Ukrainians. The intelligence community ultimately determined that direct attacks on U.S. election infrastructure were unlikely to be successful in any meaningful way, but they were blindsided by the other cyber weapon Putin developed during his invasion of Ukraine: social chaos fueled by viral social media. The 2014 invasion, to be clear.
Why would... We've known for years and years and years and years and years that we have to watch our voting machines. The machines that do the tabulation, the vote counts, the manipulating the vote. Right. We've always done that. Everybody's done that. There was a Republican Senate investigation that basically blamed Obama for the Russians helping Trump, saying that they weren't prepared. But we've never had anything like this. Social media has never been such an integral part of our lives day to day. And the influence that you can get from that, right? It was developing side by side. I don't think they expected it to be as much as it was, as hardcore as it was, as much effort put into it as there was.
Now, Ukrainians were mostly immune to these psychological weapons, as the vast majority of Ukrainians despised anything that tasted of benefiting Russia. But here in America, we don't wash our hands before or after gorging on partisan bullshit. And so in 2016, at Putin's direction, Russia fired their cyber weapons onto the U.S. in a highly coordinated, sophisticated, and well-funded campaign of disinformation and social media outrage. This was done with the explicit documented goal to influence the election in Donald Trump's favor and to spread doubt about the integrity of the U.S. election system. And while the extent of Russia's impact remains uncertain and debated, it's quite plausible that this was the cyber warfare version of the Ebola virus. If you're a fruit bat, Ebola gives you a tummy ache. Primate, it liquefies your insides. Now, at the same time that Russian government-produced outrage media was going viral in the U.S., one of Putin's elite hacker groups, known in the intelligence community as Fancy Bear, you can't make this up, succeeded in a direct attack on the Democratic National Committee's servers. Fancy Bear, under Putin's command, then released a trove of embarrassing emails to the public via DC Leaks and WikiLeaks. This sent Putin's active cyber warfare weapons on social media into overdrive, reaching new heights of virality and appeal. All the while, Russia operatives and spies like Marina Butina and Alexander Torshin wormed their ways into the highest echelons of the GOP and MAGA movement with the same mission: get Trump elected. But how much did Trump himself participate in, endorse, or collude with Russia in these activities? Well, renowned Russian policy expert Andrew S. Weiss and artist Brian...
It was 63 times he said, I don't recall.
Box Brown made a graphic novel about it that illustrates the most salient facts. Candidate Trump's behavior created a counterintelligence nightmare for Obama's national security team. Trump held secret talks during the campaign about a big real estate deal in Russia and lied about it. He repeated Kremlin talking points on issues like Putin, Ukraine, NATO, and sanctions. According to investigators, Trump's campaign had 272 contacts and 38 meetings with Russian
It don't look too bad.
government-tied representatives and cutouts.
I hope you can swim at Tsuko.
He reveled in Russian-backed disinformation and hacking operations against the DNC. And despite extensive press reporting on Russian interference in the election, the Kremlin formally denied any involvement. Yet by September 2016, Putin was cracking jokes in public about the hacks. You be the judge. But as former CIA Director Michael Hayden put it, Russia election meddling was the most successful covert operation in history. And these are the facts, as established by Special Counsel Robert Mueller, who was appointed to lead an independent investigation into what happened. These facts were confirmed by a bipartisan Senate committee that even included then-Senator, now Secretary of State, and flaccid micropenis Marco Rubio. Of course, Trump has said he didn't bother reading the Senate's report. When asked about the report, he said, "I don't know anything about it. I didn't read it. It's all a hoax." Over the years, the Russian election interference hoax conspiracy theory has become MAGA doctrine. In 2020, the Republicans in the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence conducted their own investigation, nitpicking the intelligence community's findings. The committee issued a document titled Report on the Manufactured Russia Hoax. Their report largely confirmed the key facts of the Senate report and the Mueller report, but they disagreed on the extent to which Trump was involved and the extent to which Putin was motivated by a Trump victory. The matter was settled. Reasonable minds can disagree. But then, on July 25, 2025, Tulsi Gabbard, the controversial head of the Office of the Department of National Intelligence, or ODNI, released a previously classified version of the Republican House Committee's report and accused President Obama and several members of his administration of engaging in a treasonous conspiracy, claiming that their goal was to subvert the will of the American people and enact what was essentially a years-long coup with the objective of trying to usurp the president from fulfilling the mandate bestowed upon him by the American people. But the classified version of the Republican House Committee's report that she released doesn't support those accusations. The report admits that, quote, the bulk of the intelligence community's judgments on Russia's election operations were sound and employed proper analytic trade credit.
You guys remember when Marco Rubio had to apologize to then candidate Trump for making fun of his small penis? And Trump went on national TV and said there's nothing wrong with the size of his, that's our president.
So, off the bat, the House report agrees that the intelligence community's assessments were mostly correct. The House committee agreed that Russia engaged in cyber warfare to influence the 2016 elections, that Russia was responsible for the hack on the DNC emails, and that Russia sought to undermine faith in U.S. elections. What the Republicans took issue with was the idea that Putin did this in order to help Trump. They claimed that the intelligence community's assessment was based on insufficient data, ignored...
So where they get the help from Trump is the fact that it seemed like there was a lot more stuff that was shared to help Trump, right? Pre-election. They found that Russia claimed, none of this has been verified, of course, but Russia claimed that they had more damning evidence against Hillary that they didn't leak. Almost like a plan B. If Hillary does get elected, then we have these bad things on her that we can, because they thought she was probably going to win for most of the election. There's also a snippet from an informant within Russia that said, I gave you the quote the other night, that that Putin was counting on Trump to win, right? That it looked like Hillary might win and not Trump, as Putin was counting on. That counting on can be like, oh, he just thought he would win, but that is null and void because they thought Hillary was still going to win. So the counting on isn't like I'm counting on Trump to win just because I've looked at the polls and I think he's going to win. The counting on in the intelligence community's mind was, well, he doesn't think he's going to win. So the counting on actually means I'm counting on him to win because I need favors. I need to manipulate him. I need him to win. That's why I'm helping him win. You could argue that all day. You can't roll it into Obama committed treason. That's insane.
Contrary information and wrongly relied on the largely discredited Steele dossier. So along with the 2020 House report, Tulsi Gabbard's politically captured...
It did not. By the way, the Steele dossier, they say that they tried to say that this report was bad because it relied on the Steele dossier, which is now, some of it's been discredited. A lot of it's true, but a lot of it's been discredited. The Steele dossier, multiple heads of intelligence agencies went back and forth on whether to include the Steele dossier. Do we put it in this report? Do we put its information in this report? And they decided, no, we don't. But it's still of enough importance that we will attach it as an appendix. Okay? So it's not, the material in it is not used in this report. It's attached to an appendix as if you wanted to read it as well. But they didn't use the information to make this report, except for one bullet point. One bullet point. That was it. In all of the report, there's one bullet point that is used from the Steele dossier, and the rest of it was just attached as extra information. They couldn't decide whether it was credible enough to use it, the credible parts of it, even though some of it was, not so credible, or not use it. So instead, they said, well, we don't want to use it throughout the report and take away credibility from a report, but we don't want to hide it either. So we'll just attach it as an appendix to the report.
ODNI released a brief, haphazard-looking memo and a public statement with 6 claims that build their foundation for their treason accusations against President Obama. Let's break these claims down. First, in the months leading up to the November 2016 election, the intelligence community consistently assessed that Russia is probably not trying to influence the election by using cyber means. This is untrue. What the intelligence community actually said is that Russia was not trying to hack election infrastructure. That's different from saying that the Russians...
This was one of my points, right? She used a snippet of a statement. The full statement, so the statement she reads says, in the months leading up to the 2016 election, the intelligence community consistently assessed that Russia is probably not trying to influence the election by cyber means. The part she left off of that statement is to manipulate computer-enabled election infrastructure. They're not attacking our computer-based voting machines. That was the part she left off. They absolutely are using social media and everything else, but they're not trying to manipulate computer. So obviously, she cut the rest of that sentence off to make it look as bad as possible. This is what I was saying, like, you're reading the memo, not the report. I can cherry pick things from a report and make a really good memo. That I could make the same memo that said two exact opposite things by cherry picking stuff from this report. I could make one memo that said Obama committed treason and here's how, and I could make another memo that said all this intelligence is sound, that the Russians seem to be influencing the election in favor of Trump, and it seems like a lot of people in the Trump administration were involved with it. But it was a trap. I didn't know that the trap was that Gibbs didn't actually read the report, and he trapped me.
Russians weren't trying to influence U.S. elections at all. Even the Republican House Committee acknowledged that the Russians did try to influence the election by using social media and hacking and the release of stolen DNC emails. Second, ODNI argued that on December 7th, 2016, after the election, talking points were prepared for Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, stating foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election outcome. No one disputes this. Neither Obama, nor the bipartisan Senate report, nor the intelligence community assessment, nor the Mueller report ever claimed that Russia hacked election infrastructure. The investigations on this topic focused on whether...
And I don't think anybody actually thinks that. I don't think that anybody that believes that Russian influenced the election thinks that they changed votes. Or they took people that didn't vote and they made it look like they voted for Trump. Or they flipped votes, or they changed numbers, or they added to or took away from vote. I don't think anybody believes that.
Russia attempted to influence the election by using social media and by hacking and releasing damaging DNC emails. And all the reputable investigations concluded that Russia did that. So Clapper's talking point about hacking election infrastructure doesn't show that he or Obama were lying when they later claimed that Russia tried to influence the election in other ways. Next, ODNI claimed that on December 9th, 2016, President Obama's White House gathered top National Security Council principals for a meeting that included James Clapper, John Brennan, Susan Rice, John Kerry, Loretta Lynch, Andrew McCabe, and others to discuss Russia. And after the meeting, DNI Clapper's executive assistant sent an email to IC leaders tasking them with creating a new IC assessment per the president's request that details the tools Moscow used and actions it took to influence the 2016 election. It went on to say ODNI will lead this effort with participation from CIA, FBI, NSA, and DHS. This is also true and undisputed, and this is how government works. The president holds meetings and tasks agencies with conducting investigations and assessments. The president gets to choose priorities, and the executive agencies try to deliver on them. This was a fast turnaround assignment, given in early December and due in early January, but that fast turnaround was necessary because Trump was about to take office, and the Obama administration guessed, accurately, that Trump wasn't exactly going to be impartial about fact-finding. Next, ODNI alleged that Obama officials leaked false statements to media outlets, including the Washington Post, claiming Russia has attempted through cyber means to interfere in, if not actively influence, the outcome of an election. But this isn't a false statement, nor is it a leak. Every credible investigation concluded the same thing. Even the House Republican Committee had to agree that Russia tried, via cyber means, to influence the election. Even they conceded that the bulk of the intelligence community's judgments on Russia's election operations were sound and employed proper analytic tradecraft. Their dispute was not whether Russia tried to influence the election, but whether
I brought that up. The tradecraft was good, everything. I brought that up, too, as the debate.
In order to help Trump win. Finally, ODNI claimed that on January 6, 2017, a new intelligence community assessment was released that directly contradicted the IC assessments that were made throughout the previous 6 months. This is also false because, again, the intelligence community assessment didn't contradict prior statements regarding Russia's intentions to and ability to hack election infrastructure. It addressed a totally different question. Did Russia try to influence the election? And, like the Senate and the independent Mueller investigation, the intelligence community concluded that Russia did try to influence the election using the arsenal of cyber weapons and tactics they developed and honed in their war against Ukraine.
Also, I don't know where this concept came from that... They said this multiple times and cited nothing, even when I asked, like, what are you talking about? That the Mueller report showed that there was actually more manipulation in the Hillary Clinton campaign. Where did you read? I think you just read this off a meme. But, you know, it is their trap for them to pretend like they read the report and didn't read the report. So you got to be careful.
So it's pretty disingenuous to claim that just because Russia didn't hack voting machines directly, it didn't do anything to try and influence the 2016 election. Curiously absent from these reports and the House committee findings that attempted to distance Trump from Putin's motivations is the fact that on the day after Trump's election, Russian lawmakers broke out a bunch of champagne. Still, according to Tulsi Gabbard, Obama's actions amount to a treasonous conspiracy, and everyone involved, quote, must be investigated and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. So she referred the matter to the Department of Justice, which immediately launched a so-called strike force to, quote, assess evidence publicized by ODNI. Pam Bondi promised to leave no stone unturned to deliver justice. I wonder if she'll read the Senate report. In fact, there's a lot of things that Pam Bondi allegedly has on her desk that need addressing. And if Pam Bondi truly wants to leave no stone unturned to deliver justice, she'll read the Senate report. And hopefully do a smidge of legal research, even though what she'll find is really disappointing. That's because treason is an extraordinary charge, by design. It's difficult to prove and rarely prosecuted. America's most prolific treason doers are the Founding Fathers themselves, at least in the eyes of the British courts, which is what we base our own legal system off, by the way. But central to the American legal experiment was the concept that the government was based on the consent of the governed, not divine rule. So in order to have a democracy, citizens had to be empowered to debate and push back against their own government. As Justice Robert Jackson said in Kramer v. United States, the basic law of treason in this country was framed by men who, as we have seen, were taught by experience and by history to fear abuse of the treason charge almost as much as they feared treason itself. In fact, the founders were so concerned about the over-prosecution of treason that they even included the definition of treason in the Constitution. Quote, treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless...
I think maybe they think the Mueller report and the Durham report are the same thing. That's the only thing that I can figure, because it wasn't even in the scope of the Mueller report. Like the Durham report came and got like a lawyer in trouble or whatever, and that he tried to get this in front of the FBI or what. I think they think they're the same report. The John Durham investigation, the Mueller investigation.
On the testimony of two witnesses to the same overt act or on confession in open court. If the Trump administration were to actually try to pursue treason charges against Obama and his associates, the first prosecutorial question is, were they trying to levy war against the United States? That would be a very tough argument, because the Supreme Court has made it very difficult to demonstrate that someone has levied war against the United States. The most famous case on this topic relates to America's ambitious, anti-slavery, arguably feminist, act fast, think later, original gangsta Aaron Burr. Yeah, that's not the real Aaron Burr. Not long after he turned Alexander, I think president should rule for life Hamilton into a Facebook post, Burr went on to lead a conspiracy to create an independent nation in the American Southwest. Burr and his comrades assembled a private militia and planned to seize enough land to start a new country. His co-conspirators, Bowman and Swartwout, were first to go to trial on treason charges. In their cases, ex parte Bowman and ex parte Swartwout ended up before Chief Justice John Marshall in the Supreme Court. And even then, the Supreme Court dismissed the treason charges, holding that the alleged conduct did not constitute levying war against the United States within the...
Even though they were going to seize a bunch of land that belonged to the United States and start their own country, that didn't reach treason levels.
The meaning of the treason clause of the Constitution. Chief Justice Marshall found that it was not enough to conspire against the country by recruiting troops, procuring maps, and drawing up plans. Conspiring to levy war was...
But Obama having a report written by his intelligence agencies is fucking treason. But building an army to seize land and start your own country within the United States of America is not treason.
Distinct from actually levying war. A person could only be convicted of treason for levying war if there was an actual assemblage of men for the purpose of executing a treasonable design. Burr then got his treason charges dismissed under the same theory. So if drawing up maps and recruiting troops isn't sufficient for a treason charge, the allegations ODNI has leveled against the Obama administration definitely wouldn't cut it. The ODNI's public statements and the documents the agency released essentially accused the Obama administration of misleading the American public about Russia's influence in the 2016 elections. That's not exactly an act of war, and it's definitely not an actual assemblage of men for the purpose of executing a treasonable design. The second potential path to a treason conviction is if anyone in the Obama administration gave aid and comfort to the enemies of the United States. This, again, would be difficult to argue. Not that some poor attorney at DOJ won't be tasked with trying. First, what enemies of the United States did Obama give aid and comfort to? The Russians? The Intelligence Committee report actually clearly identifies the Russians as enemies of the United States, and Obama himself told the Russians to cut it out regarding election hacking.
In early September, when I saw President Putin in China and tell him to cut it out, there were going to be some serious consequences if he didn't.
So it's unlikely that anyone could argue that Obama was giving Putin aid or comfort. Or maybe the enemy of the Trump administration would be...
I think they had a hard time, right? They tried to tell Russia to stop. But how heavy-handed could Obama have been on social media and not been accused of influencing the election himself, right? If he just said, hey, we got to get rid of these bots, we got to get rid of this, it looks like he's playing sides. Now, Trump has no problem looking like he's playing sides, but most people try to make it at least look like everything's above board.
Referring to is the Democratic Party itself. since he's previously thrown around the accusation that Democrats are the enemy from within. Either way, this is unlikely to stand up in court. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that the Trump administration could identify an enemy that the Obama administration had assisted. Trump would still have to prove that Obama or his administration gave aid and comfort to that enemy. The standard for that is actually quite high. In the landmark Supreme Court case Kramer v. United States, Kramer was a naturalized American citizen born in Germany and charged with treason for allegedly helping German soldiers sneak into the United States during World War II to launch attacks on behalf of the German government. Once again, the court dismissed the treason charges against Kramer on the grounds that what he did, having some drinks.
So helping actual German soldiers sneak into the United States to commit attacks against the United States is not treason. But Obama is saying, hey, I want to report on what happened on social media with this most recent election. Treason. Gitmo.
And casual treasonous talk with an acquaintance who was secretly conspiring against the U.S. government was not legally sufficient to be considered aid and comfort. As Justice Robert Jackson explained, a citizen intellectually or emotionally may favor the enemy and harbor sympathies or convictions disloyal to this country's policy or interest, but so long as he commits no act of aid or comfort to the enemy, there is no treason. On the other hand, a citizen may take actions which do aid and comfort the enemy, making a speech critical of the government or opposing its measures, profiteering, striking in defense plants or essential work, and 100 other things which impair our cohesion and diminish our strength. But if there is no adherence to the enemy in this, if there is no intent to betray, there is no treason. In summary, the Constitution requires both concrete action and an intent to betray the nation before a citizen can be convicted of treason. Expressing traitorous thoughts or intentions alone isn't enough. So even assuming that by promoting the Russian election influence idea, the Obama administration did somehow aid some enemy of the United States, the Trump administration would still have to prove that Obama and his team promoted that idea with the express intent to help that enemy. That's not supported in any of the documents Tulsi and Odie and I released. Even Trump's usual lickspittles know these charges just won't hold up. In a recent conversation between Senator Ted Cruz and Laura Ingraham on Fox News, both admitted that Trump wouldn't actually be able to charge Obama with treason.
He's not going to be... Clearly. Obviously. By the way, do you know how fucking dumb it is that the Mueller investigation even started? I was reading this, okay? Because a lot of people claim, and I figured they would claim this on the debate, that the Mueller investigation started because the lying still dossier, the fake dossier, the Russian dossier, you've heard of this, right? The Russian dossier, they lied about the dossier. It started because fucking Trump campaign retard George Papadopoulos met with a representative from Australia and told them that the Trump campaign had received information from the Russian government that it could help the campaign anonymously. He just comes out and says it. So, of course, the Australian government calls the FBI and is like, hey, this guy just said that he's been talking to Russia on behalf of the campaign, and the campaign is anonymously going to help Trump's campaign. That's what stemmed the entire Mueller investigation. They admitted to it, to a foreign nation. That's the underlying case. It's not the Steele dossier. It's not anything Hillary Clinton did. It's not anything the Democrats did or the deep state did. One of his own guys goes to another country and brags about how Russia is going to help them win the election. Fucking crazy, dude. Insane. This was back in, I think, June or July of 2016.
Be prosecuted for treason, but it's not going to happen. He's not going to be prosecuted in all likelihood for treason.
But come on, we know the point isn't the actual charges. The point here is to shift attention from...
You might have noticed that we're producing way more content than ever before. That's because the law is now seemingly in the news almost every day, and it can make producing videos like this one increasingly challenging. But we just...
Dude, if you own like a constitutional law channel or even just a law channel in general, a Trump administration is the greatest gift of content you'll ever fucking get.
Full video about one of the craziest lawyers gone wild true crime stories that we've ever seen. It follows DC's golden boy attorney Tom Goldstein, who I technically used to work for, and his insane self-destruction from high-stakes poker with billionaires, secret girlfriends, robbing clients, tax evasion, and the Supreme Court. But because it's too hot for YouTube, the only way to see it is by signing up for today's sponsor, Nebula. You can watch all of our videos on Nebula ad-free without sponsorship messages like this one, and early because our videos always go up on Nebula first. Plus, every video we upload to Nebula this year is an extended cut featuring additional analysis and commentary that you can't get on YouTube. And signing up for Nebula is also an excellent way to support this channel and its mission to demystify the legal miasma that we live in. And people often ask if it helps this channel more to watch it on YouTube or Nebula, and the answer answer is emphatically Nebula. The watch time payouts are bigger, and since my creator friends and I created Nebula ourselves, we don't have to worry about capricious demonetization standards, which have been really frustrating on this year. For example, a recent video on the Diddy trial was age-gated because it showed security footage that was not exactly savory, and one video was demonetized because it showed a single image of the World Trade Center on 9/11. Now that was eventually taken care of, but we lost a huge amount of revenue because of YouTube's mistake. But all this is why Nebula is a better experience for the creator, and it's also a better experience for the viewer and legal eaglets like you. So if you'd like to sign up and get tons of exclusive content on Nebula only, you can get 40% off your annual subscription, a You're the Best content for just $36, or you can even gift that to a friend in a Nebula gift card. Or you can check out the lifetime subscription, where for $300 you can get access to Nebula forever. But either way, you can click on the link below. So sign up for Nebula, or I'll see you in court.
Just for the sake of argument, let's imagine that the Trump administration files criminal treason charges against former President Obama. How would that work exactly? Obama has never levied war against America or given foreign aid to an enemy, period. But let's pretend there is a case. How would it play out? A president can't just order someone's arrest. There has to be an investigation to get some evidence, and a prosecutor has to take it to a grand jury for indictment. That's kind of how the rule of law works at its most foundational constitutional level.
An explosive whistleblower report claims that the Justice Department is asking government lawyers to lie to the courts.
So I've come forward because the Trump administration has put civil servants in this impossible position.
Also, somehow we've all ran. Do you know the guy's name is not even Mueller? It's Mueller. And it's just been repeated so many times that I can't, unless I stop and think about it, I accidentally say it the wrong way every fucking time. The media says it. Every politician says it. Trump says it. Everybody says it. Wrong. I bet you he's probably like, God damn, I shouldn't even took this job.
Of fealty to the president and the agenda, or fealty to uphold the Constitution and to uphold the rule of law. Ultimately, I didn't sign up to lie to a court.
That was whistleblower Erez Ruveni, who the courts works at its most foundational constitutional level.
An explosive whistleblower report claims that the Justice Department is asking government lawyers to lie to the courts.
So I've come forward because the Trump administration has put civil servants in this impossible position of fealty to the president and the agenda, or fealty to uphold the Constitution and to uphold the rule of law. Ultimately, I didn't sign up to lie to a court.
That was whistleblower.
Damn, that's a tough job. But you're staking everything on like what, that Trump's going to pardon you? Because if they're having you put his agenda over ethical biases as a bias over your ethical obligations, I guess I should say, and a different administration comes in, you want to go to fucking prison?
Erez Ruveni, who alleged that DOJ senior officials, including Emil Bove, who, as Liz and I recently explained, has been nominated to serve as a federal appellate judge, urged DOJ prosecutors to submit misleading information to courts and defy federal court rulings.
Bove says, and if some court were to issue some order that prevents that from happening, we would have to consider telling that court, quote, fuck you.
The conditions Ruveni described led to a mass exodus of DOJ lawyers who refused to violate their duties as officers of the court. So using Bondi's new DOJ playbook, let's imagine how the Justice Department could bring a treason case against Obama. The Attorney General could take the conservative route and appoint a special counsel like Robert Mueller or Jack Smith to investigate and issue recommendations. But special counsels move slowly and run exhaustive investigations. And Republicans...
I'm the only person you've ever seen say it wrong. Then you've never watched any coverage. All of Congress says it wrong. Through the entire hearing, they say his name wrong.
Claimed that the special counsel statute is unconstitutional anyway, so this may not be Bondi's preferred route. Instead, she could pick a loyal DOJ attorney.
They say it wrong so much, there was a fact check put out by PolitiFact or somebody on it.
Let's call him Ed. And Ed passes the most basic requirements of having a law degree, so this may not be Bondi's preferred route. Instead, she could pick a loyal DOJ attorney. Let's call him Ed. And Ed passes the most basic requirements of having a law degree and passing the bar exam. So Ed with a law degree can take this case straight to a grand jury. Before anything hits a courtroom, FBI agents would need to open a formal investigation, gather evidence, and build a legal theory more substantial than I saw it on Truth Social. Ed with the law degree would then take the case to a federal grand jury. A federal grand jury is usually 16 to 23 ordinary citizens chosen at random from voter rolls. Grand juries are sworn to secrecy, and their deliberations are strictly protected. Grand juries don't determine guilt or innocence. Their job is to decide whether there's probable cause to believe a crime was committed. The grand jury process is one-sided by design. The defense can't present evidence, most rules of evidence don't even apply, and the standard is just...
Lawyers say that you could get an indictment from a grand jury on a potato, right?
Probable cause instead of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Prosecutors almost always get their indictments. Hence the saying that a good prosecutor could indict a ham sandwich. Seriously.
Oh, well, there you go.
Prosecutors usually get indictments because they have evidence that someone committed a crime, and it's deeply professionally embarrassing for a grand jury to say no. But lately, some federal prosecutors aren't even bothering to make the sandwich.
It can actually be like a black mark, like on your career, right? If you go in front of a grand jury and can't get an indictment, because clearly you have evidence, there's no defense present. There's no defense there. You only get to show your side of the case. And nobody can come along and say, well, that's not true because this, or we want this thrown out. You could even use evidence that's not going to make it into the case. Like it's insane to go to a grand, well, it's not insane. It happens. but it's pretty rare. It's only in cases where they're reaching and they're doing it for some other motive, right?
According to the Los Angeles Times, U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley, who oversees federal prosecutions in Southern California, has been pushing his office to bring cases that don't meet the DOJ's own standards for prosecution. 3 Justice Department officials say Asaley told a subordinate to ignore the federal government's justice manual, which explicitly instructs prosecutors to only bring charges they believe that they can prove at trial in order to prosecute protesters. Instead, Asaley allegedly demanded that prosecutors press on and secure indictments not based on evidence, but based on orders from Pam Bondi. That's not how this is supposed to work, but the system can.
It's the same thing as when all those people retired. What was going on when Pam Bondi or whoever came in and they wanted them to do something? Drop the prosecution of the New York City mayor. And like 3 or 4 of them retired. And they're like, no, we're not doing this until they found somebody that would bring it. Even though ethically they should not have filed to drop the case.
Push back. Grand juries have reportedly refused to indict, skeptical of the thin evidence presented in these protest-related cases. Remember, grand juries nearly always indict. When they start saying no, it's a red flag that something is seriously off. And another sign that something is seriously off in the DOJ, court filings show that some prosecutors have refused to sign their names to contentious cases, forcing Asaley and the second-in-command to sign the pleadings themselves. So when your own prosecutors won't touch the case, maybe take the hint. The government's case against Obama would be even more challenging because Washington, D.C. juries tend to be more skeptical of government prosecutions. Add in the fact that many D.C. voters have been laid off or fired by Donald Trump, and Kamala Harris won 92.5% of the district's total vote in 2020. For all these reasons, I think it's pretty unlikely that a D.C. grand jury would ever indict Obama for treason. To actually indict President Obama, Ed with a law degree would probably need to find a district with jurors who are friendlier to Trump. But that would open up a whole other can of jurisdictional worms. It's not like Bondi can just run down to Florida and get a quick indictment against Obama because the alleged criminal acts happened in Washington, D.C.
By the way, while we're talking about the court stuff, did you guys know that so when they said that, okay, we can't release the Epstein files, but we're going to release the grand jury testimony, that both the judges, so the Maxwell case and the Epstein case, both the judges quoted saying that the government hadn't even proved that they had notified the victims. So grand jury testimony is rarely released, okay? And you have to do a bunch of stuff to prove that you've done all these things and you still need it. And one of the things is obviously notifying the victims, especially if the victims were witnesses. I don't think they wanted the grand jury testimony released. They wanted to say, okay, well, there's nothing in the Epstein files, but here, we'll run down here and do this for you. And when the judges won't sign off on it because they can't, right? They're kind of bound. They can say, well, we tried, but the judges didn't want the grand jury testimony released.
Let's say Ed and Pam actually managed to find a panel of grand jurors who think that it's likely that Obama committed treason, and they vote to indict. Then what? From there, the legal process unfolds much like it did with Trump's criminal cases. The indictment would be filed under seal, then the prosecutor would seek an arrest warrant or notify the former president to voluntarily appear in court. So once again, we would see the Secret Service detail flanking a former president as he walks into a courtroom. We might even get a mugshot. Obama would probably be wearing a tan suit. But by the rules of executive immunity that the Trump administration fought feverishly to protect and expand, Obama is immune to criminal prosecution for any actions he took while in office. At least, that's the theory of executive power that the Trump administration has been running with all year. Obama's legal team would promptly file a motion to dismiss, and the most powerful tool they've got is the same one Trump used to shield himself from criminal prosecution. As Devin explained last year, Special Counsel Jack Smith accused then former President Trump of conspiring with Justice Department officials to pressure states into overturning the 2020 election. But in Trump,
of course he did.
The Supreme Court ruled that presidents are absolutely immune from prosecution for.
In this case, it was brought up, could a president order the assassination of his political opponent if he thought that he was like a danger or whatever, right? And they're like, yeah, sure. Yeah, he could.
Core constitutional acts and presumptively immune for official acts within the outer perimeter of their duties. The decision gave us a presidential immunity map. It starts with a president's core constitutional acts, which are given absolute immunity. These are things like pardons, commanding the military, and firing cabinet officials. These actions are clearly within the president's constitutional powers. The president also has presumptive immunity for acts within the outer perimeter of presidential duties. This is the fuzzier stuff, like communications with the Justice Department, meetings with advisors, and public speeches. Prosecutors can try to rebut this immunity, but the burden is entirely on them, and they can't use communications from the president or his inner circle. Finally, the president gets no immunity for unofficial acts. These are things like personal business, campaign activities, or criminal acts done outside the context of the presidency. Crucially, the Supreme Court also ruled that evidence from a president's internal communications, including testimony or private records from advisors, cannot be introduced at trial if it would reveal protected official conduct. This places a significant limit on what prosecutors can use in court. Although Justice Roberts said no president is above the law, the constraints placed on prosecutors by Trump v. United States makes prosecution of ex-presidents nearly impossible. So under this framework, any charges against Obama would almost certainly fail. Take Tulsi Gabbard's claims. She alleges Obama weaponized intelligence to launch a coup against Trump. But the 2016 Russian interference reports were produced by intelligence agencies and confirmed by a bipartisan Senate committee. Even if Obama shaped the messaging, national security is a core presidential duty, squarely within the immunity zone. She also accuses him of spying on Trump through the FBI's Crossfire Hurricane probe. As we've already explained, these kinds of national security decisions, whether good, bad, controversial, are likely well within the outer perimeter of presidential duties, meaning they're presumptively immune under Trump v. United States. The wildest claim? That Trump orchestrated a fake electoral plot in 2016, an election Trump won. Straight out of the every accusation is a confession playbook. Even if Obama had pushed for alternative slates of electors or meddled in certification, what matters is the nature of his acts. Did he talk to his attorney general about it? Well, that's an official act. The court said such conversations are absolutely immune. That's why Trump couldn't be prosecuted for pressuring DOJ officials. And it's why Obama couldn't be prosecuted for supposedly talking to Eric Holder about helping Hillary Clinton. Even if Obama had gone rogue and, I don't know, offered suitcases of cash to fake electors, prosecutors in the era of the Roberts Court would still face the same impossible burden, proving it was unofficial conduct without using internal communications or testimony from advisors. The bottom line is this: Trump v. United States built a legal fortress around the presidency. If it shields Trump, it should shield Obama too. Unless
it is scary as fuck.
Immunity only runs in one direction. Even though Trump v. United States established sweeping immunity for a president's official acts, there is little to stop the court's Republican majority from carving out exceptions where it suits them, especially if the target is a Democratic ex-president. The court could narrow the ruling's application by declaring that certain acts fall outside the scope of official conduct. They could also label Obama's actions as personal, politically motivated, or otherwise not tied to core constitutional duties, even if they closely resemble Trump's immunized behavior. In other words, the same court that gave Trump a blank check could turn around and claim that Obama paid with counterfeit. I don't think that's going to happen, but I could have said the same thing about many of the court's decisions during Trump's second term, when SCOTUS has repeatedly made sweeping pro-Trump rulings on its shadow docket. With this court, apparently certain precedents only apply when your name is Donald Trump. As Obama put it in his official response to the allegations of treason levied against him, quote, "Out of respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response. But these claims are outrageous enough to merit one. These bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction."
Now, all this highlights why it's so important to be a great lawyer when you're dealing with your own case. Now, after I started this channel, every week I get hundreds of comments and emails from viewers who are dealing with legal problems. And they'd ask, can you help me find a lawyer? How do I know if this attorney is any good? And there's a massive gap in our justice system. Is that people don't know how to find the right lawyer for their specific situation. They're scared, they're overwhelmed, and they end up doing nothing or hiring the first attorney who calls them back. And that really bothered me. So I started to wonder, what if there was a different way? What if we could build a...
The rest of it is his legal team, right? legaleagle.link/eagle team if you need a lawyer. And the last one I'm going to show is the Killdozer's done. You guys, I don't know if you guys follow Whistling Diesel. He's like a young YouTuber. He got started like basically destroying vehicles and shit. He built a Killdozer.
Today is the day we build the Killdozers.
He actually did like a research, like a documentary thing. He bought the exact same make and model. He talked to a lot of people about like from the town and shit, and he has rebuilt a Killdozer.
We're gonna do a tug of war, tank versus Killdozer. Oh my god. No!
I think he even sold merch on this.
First step here is welding 1,000 pounds of metal on this. I'm gonna call 35 welders. I get all 35 of you come out here and weld this. They said they're gonna pull up in 5 minutes. Tyler, our expert fabricator, has been working around the clock. His hands are bleeding. It looks like a Killdozer already. We have all this metal framed up. We have 24 professional welders, portable welding rigs. We're all gonna be working on this because this is a community project.
But I think you just don't want to weld on this for 6 months.
No. This is gonna be one of the greatest moments that has happened on this piece of land ever.
I think they released it. They finished it on the anniversary.
Killdozer 2.0. Weld it as durably as possible. It's gonna get hit with Sidewinder missiles, tanks, 12 gauge, AK-47. Bulletproof this thing to hell. All right, we're gonna start welding in 3, 2.
I think we watched the Jet Engine merry-go-round on the show.
1. Okay, right over. Oh, somebody who's gonna have the first weld? Here we go. He's going. Fly back. Got the first weld on the Killdozer. Those welds look great. These are gonna hold the concrete in so that we can fill it up like homemade armor. So, I don't get to reach the top here. We're gonna bring our skid steer in here. Hold up here. You can stand on the bucket. They have no clue what they signed up for. I don't even know how to run this. 3 construction workers are dead. I'm gonna figure this out. It can't be that hard. Can I do good? I knew I'd do all right. You have a safety inspector here from OSHA. Hey, we have a guy from OSHA here. He's wanted to check out the operation. You can just hang out for a little bit. Where's everybody going? We're just gonna have OSHA check everything out. We're going to do a bead competition so you can weld the best bead. The winner will receive this limited edition 1 of 500 Chrome Monster Neck Hammer. My name's Cody, and this is my welder. One of the biggest baddest you. Whenever you go up, I'm just looking. One from next room. Okay. You didn't do that one. Seems like someone was slightly struggling. That was Matt. You did an excellent job. That's what Cody like. 13. I think that was everybody. Undeniably. What's your name? Congrats. There you go, bro. That should hold up to just mine. So easy. Time to check it out. Woo! Yeah, buddy.
The only thing that stopped it is it fell into a fucking, it is now. The production value is extremely good now. When he first started, it was just him running around, fucking around and destroying shit, which it got attention. It got him where he is. He does a really good job. The only thing that stopped the Killdozer is it fell in an old basement under a house that it was destroying.
There's the nearest small town. Okay, get off. They're throwing rocks at it. We those are wells breaking. My grandma should be showing up in a Ford Taurus any minute. Everybody seen her? The visibility is quite limited. You just have to go by the direction of screams. So next is our hood, ripper guard. We have a camera system, weapon system. Yeah, I'm thinking black pillar on top. Everybody here gets packed out polo. Not recommended for killdozer use.
That's pretty cool.
This is gonna save a lot of time. Really? Right there. Look at it. We have a very special delivery today. Is it the gym? Is it Killdozer Builder 9000? Up!
He's not even underneath it yet.
Down! That way! Stop! Forward! Stop! Slow down! Stop!
Trying to back up a trailer for the first time with your dad in the back.
Stop! Go up! Go down! Stop! This is from Skid Steer Solutions, and they've solved a lot of our skid steer problems. We have problem and solution. The problem, Cody not be able to lift 1,000 pound steel. Solution, Cody do 20. No. But the other solution is by a skid steer attachment. I forgot to set the parking brake. Dude, I forgot to set the parking brake. I'm gonna go back to brainstorming session. Oh my god, it's very good. Wow! My first time in our Killdozer. I am very excited right now.
That's an insane build.
In this box, we have our Killdozer exhaust stack. This is one side of our Killdozer exhaust from Send Cut Send. They've cut this and sent it, and they sent it after they cut it. Here, give me your feet.
No.
Just trying to capture how miserable it is to work on Killdozer. It's a lot hotter inside and then welding galvanized steel. I'm trying to make it look a little rushed so that it looks authentic. Like, you know, it's not all
Galvanized steel, the shit that comes off of it, you breathe it, and it makes you sick. You can drink milk and get rid of it, though. But it's still probably not great.
and clean. There's some bad welds every now and then. And that's not just an excuse for the bad welds. I promise. This is the automatic kill switch system. You can run it however you want when it's in the disarm mode, but if you pass out while you're full throttle, someone on the exterior and hit this button. And it kills her off. That's pretty sweet.
15 years ago, bizarre and frightening events played out in Granby.
Some of the videotape show you just a little bit of some of the
Granby. I couldn't remember the name of the town.
Finally finished the Killdozer project. It's a lot of work. Hey, give me that water quick. I need the water. Working on the Killdozer. This has been a nightmare of a project. It's been a lot of hard work, a lot of long hours. I can't wait to tell you all. Thanks, dude.
Okay, that's the second grinder you broke this week. You're not going to take credit for it all, are you?
No, I'm extremely happy to announce that we together have finally finished the Killdozer project. Now we're going to run everybody down on the features of the Killdozer as it sits. This actually looks really good. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't looked at it. It's been parked out here for...
When was July?
In July.
10 months ago.
Tyler, give us a rundown on the easiest, simplest abbreviation that you can that you did to build this.
So we 3D scanned the entire dozer down to 0.2mm accuracy. Have modeled all the armor around it with precision to allow the front armor to come off.
3/4 of an inch thick steel with 5.5 inches of metal between it. It's got upgrades and it's
He doesn't know what else to say. So you didn't do that much, what you say. Look, there's a camera. But I feel like that's actually a horrible spot time.
That is exactly where Marvin put it.
What are we going to do? Oh, that's good design. So we have huge armor over the cylinders so that can keep this from getting messed up. All we've done here is basically apply these.
Who's we?
We got the steel from Send Cut Send, a company that sends your steel, cuts it, and sends it.
Oh, people from you.
What is a 10?
It's a remote shut off. I'm ripping that off right now. You know it's a mistake having you involved in this. What happens when I'm in the middle of a highly populated area? And Tyler here does
remote shutdown.
What's going on right now? Tyler's going to try to save the day. Run us down on what we have here.
Those are the pressurized nitrogen lines.
Wait, why do we need nitrogen?
It blows the debris away from the camera.
So what happens if Carl, the police officer, comes up here and sips that?
Oh, there's supposed to be concrete up here.
Oh,
we haven't paid for it yet.
So we're going to pour concrete. As you can see, the entire perimeter of this here is hollow, and we're going to be filling this all with concrete today. We need to get inside. It's raining. Oh my god, it's very big. Wow, my first time in our Killdozer. Say, crush me.
Weighs about 400 pounds.
All right, pretty sweet. You can watch the rest of the video. I just want to show it off. I think it's awesome. Build the Killdozer. So that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'm gonna hop off here and I'll hop off here and I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we don't have internet outages. I don't know. I guess we didn't lose the YouTube feed, did we? It started this morning at my house. The internet was going out for like fucking 5 minutes, 2 minutes, and it was just like all I noticed was like videos were buffering really bad, right? And then I came to the office and I can notice when I send Mariah, usually it delivers instantly, right? Because we're both on fucking fiber internet. It ought to. But like my internet would go out, my videos would be buffering. I'd text Mariah and she wouldn't receive it. It was just fucking crazy. Tsunami update, sure. I don't think much is happening, but. Somebody says, pray for the Rothschilds family, please. Thanks a lot, Obama. This is the prelude to the disaster. Yeah, I don't think much is going on. Good luck on the West Coast tonight. Tsunami wave hits Kamchatka and Japan after massive 8.8. Tsunami wave struck part of Japan's and Russia's Kuril Islands, and a tidal surge of 1 foot was recorded near Alaska. The entire West Coast U.S., as well as Guam, Philippines, Northern Mariana Islands were alerted to watch for signs of dangerous waves. I don't think it's going to be much, but I've been wrong before. Under a low-level advisory. Even California is a low-level advisory. with smaller waves expected, but still dangerous conditions. Crescent City, especially at risk, having suffered a deadly tsunami attack in 1964. It doesn't look like there's much damage so far. President Trump truth socialed about it. It was a big earthquake, though. 8.7 on the, 8.8, I'm sorry. It was originally an 8. Then they moved it to 8.7, now 8.8. Yeah, it doesn't look like much going on now. I don't know that it's going to be much. We'll see. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. We'll see you about the next one. Have a good night. I'll be back tomorrow to hang out with you guys. Hopefully earlier. I need to move the show up substantially earlier. So we'll get that figured out. Have a good night. We'll see you on the next one.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag has
Atsuko's not answering anybody just because she likes the attention.
the fork and balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have the balls.
Dude, the Israel Gaza food issue is getting out of hand, dude. They're gonna have hundreds of thousands of people dying soon from starvation. Like they're getting 3.3 pounds of food per person right now. And that includes water and all the other supplies. Like it's so bad. If you just had food and water, dude, you're talking like 30 pounds per person. That's not counting diapers and groceries, and they're not letting enough trucks in at all. And somehow they're blaming Israel's not letting enough trucks in, and somehow they're blaming Hamas. Like it's getting really bad. I've seen a bunch of breakdowns of just logistically, like the weight versus how much people need to survive on water and food alone, and then the supplies are not just water and food. There's fucking diapers and toiletries and hairbrushes and shit like that. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's getting really bad. I don't know how long the world is going to let Israel keep acting like this. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people dying of starvation within the next week or two.
Buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped it to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine.
The thing that reminded me of it is somebody in the comments for the tsunami stream says, please pray for Israel and Trump, please. They need it.
Stop.
Like, what the fuck?
I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. This is arms and alcoholic. Give me a...
The absolute minimum that you can survive on is 10 gallons, and that's cutting out hygiene. And that is... So the average... 10 liters. The average person in the U.S. uses 400 liters. The 15 liters is what you need a day if you're doing hygiene, like washing hands and shit like that. If you cut out hygiene, which raises the factor for disease, fucking orders of magnitude higher, then it's 10 liters a day.
Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him back
Per person.
trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are getting rocking. He was doing so well. It's all over. Hands on his shoulders. They ringing his bell. You got Frog News Network doing no damn research. They be working.
It works out to like 2.7 I don't know the exact estimate. It's 2.7 gallons. But it's 10 liters. 15 if you're going to do basic, not like luxurious showers and flushing, just basic hygiene, like washing your hands.
All you fucking cretins about baby eating heathens. Believing in reason with no meaning is bullshit. Will Bird motherfuckers out here busting the grifts. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bench, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't.
Yeah, 10 liters of water is like 20-some pounds. They're getting 3.3 pounds of aid per person. Just the water alone would be like 25 pounds that they need to survive. So there's no way. They're not giving them enough to survive. They're trying to starve them out in hopes that they fucking win some. I don't know. It's bad. Have a good night.